Question 1. A multinational corporation has multiple AWS accounts and needs to enable secure and high-performance communication between its VPCs in different AWS regions. There are over 50 VPCs across multiple AWS accounts. Traffic should be cost-efficient and scalable without single points of failure. Some VPCs are in the same region, while others are cross-region. High-bandwidth private connections are needed to on-premises data centers. Which architecture is the most suitable? Options: A. Use VPC peering for all VPCs and AWS Direct Connect for on-premises connectivity. B. Use AWS Transit Gateway to connect all VPCs and AWS Direct Connect for on-premises connectivity. C. Use a combination of VPC peering and VPN tunnels to create a mesh network. D. Use AWS Global Accelerator to route traffic across AWS regions and VPCs. Correct answer: B. Use AWS Transit Gateway to connect all VPCs and AWS Direct Connect for on-premises connectivity. Explanation: AWS Transit Gateway simplifies network management for large-scale environments. Reduces the number of peering connections required, efficient for 50+ VPCs. AWS Direct Connect provides high-bandwidth, low-latency private connections to on-premises data centers. Why not other options? Option A. VPC peering does not scale well for 50+ VPCs due to increasing connection complexity. Option C. VPN tunnels add latency and are less reliable for high-bandwidth traffic. Option D. Global Accelerator optimizes internet traffic but does not connect VPCs directly. Question 2. A data analytics company needs to store and analyze petabyte-scale structured and unstructured data. Frequent ad hoc SQL queries need to be executed without pre-provisioning infrastructure. ETL jobs should be automated, and queries should be cost-efficient. Some data is structured, while some is in semi-structured formats, JSON, Parquet. Which AWS service is the best choice? Options: A. Use Amazon Redshift for all structured and unstructured data storage. B. Store data in Amazon S3 and query it using Amazon Athena. C. Use Amazon RDS PostgreSQL with read replicas for scaling queries. D. Use Amazon Elasticache for real-time analytics. Correct answer: B. Store data in Amazon S3 and query it using Amazon Athena. Explanation: S3 provides low-cost storage, and Athena allows running SQL queries without provisioning infrastructure. Supports both structured and semi-structured data, JSON, Parquet. Highly cost-efficient for ad hoc queries. Why not other options? Option A. Redshift is excellent for structured data, but is expensive for occasional queries. Option C. RDS PostgreSQL is not optimized for large-scale analytics queries. Option D. Elasticache is a caching service, not a data warehousing solution. Question 3. A financial services company needs a secure way to allow third-party auditors to access logs stored in an AWS S3 bucket. Auditors should only have read access to specific logs. They should not be able to access any other AWS services. Access must be temporary and revoked after the audit. Which IAM strategy is the best solution? Options: A. Create an IAM user for each auditor and assign them read-only permissions. B. Use an IAM role with temporary security credentials using AWS STSC. Use AWS SSO to create audit users and provide them with long-term credentials. D. Enable bucket logging and send logs to a CloudWatch log group for auditors. Correct answer: B. Use an IAM role with temporary security credentials using AWS STS. Explanation: IAM roles with AWS STS provide temporary, secure access. Prevents the need for long-term credentials, reducing security risks. Least privilege principle is enforced by assigning only necessary permissions. Why not other options? Option A. IAM users with long-term credentials pose a security risk. Option C. AWS SSO is good for internal employees, but not for third-party auditors. Option D. CloudWatch logs do not provide direct access to raw S3 logs. Question 4. A hospital system runs a patient record management application on AWS. Application downtime must not exceed 1 hour, RTO less than 1 hour. Data must be replicated across AWS regions with minimal loss, RPO 5 minutes. The solution should be cost-effective but quickly recoverable. Which DR strategy should be used? Options: A. Backup and restore with Amazon S3 and periodic snapshots. B. Pilot light strategy with minimal running resources in another AWS region. C. Warm standby with a scaled-down version of the system running in another region. D. Multi-region active-active deployment with full synchronization. Correct answer: C. Warm standby with a scaled-down version of the system running in another region. Explanation: Warm standby balances cost and recovery time by keeping a scaled-down copy active. Can scale up quickly to meet the RTO requirement, less than 1 hour. Ensures RPO is maintained by syncing databases at regular intervals. Why not other options? Option A. Backup and restore is too slow for RTO less than 1 hour. Option B. Pilot light takes longer to bring online than warm standby. Option D. Multi-region active-active is expensive and not cost-effective for disaster recovery. Question 5. A mobile gaming company is launching an API that will be used by millions of players worldwide. API latency must be minimized across multiple AWS regions. The architecture should be serverless and automatically scale. DDoS protection should be built in. Which AWS services provide the best solution? Options: A. Deploy an application load balancer with EC2 instances in multiple regions. B. Use Amazon CloudFront with AWS Lambda at Edge and API Gateway. C. Use AWS Global Accelerator with EC2 instances behind a network load balancer. D. Deploy a multi-region RDS instance and use Amazon Route 53 failover routing. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon CloudFront with AWS Lambda at Edge and API Gateway. Explanation: CloudFront caches API responses and reduces latency. Lambda at Edge enables running logic closer to users. API Gateway is a fully managed serverless solution with built-in DDoS protection. Why not other options? Option A. ALB and EC2 are not serverless and require maintenance. Option C. Global Accelerator improves performance but does not cache API responses. Option D. Multi-region RDS does not optimize API performance directly. Question 6. A manufacturing company has an on-premises data center and wants to securely extend its network to AWS. The on-premises network needs a fast and consistent connection to AWS. Critical workloads require low latency and high bandwidth communication. A VPN connection must be available for backup in case of failure. Which solution meets these requirements? Options: A. Use AWS Direct Connect as the primary connection and a site-to-site VPN as a backup. B. Use AWS Direct Connect Gateway with VPC peering for cross-region connectivity. C. Use a site-to-site VPN only with multiple tunnels for redundancy. D. Use AWS Transit Gateway with AWS Global Accelerator for network optimization. Correct answer: A. Use AWS Direct Connect as the primary connection and a site-to-site VPN as a backup. Explanation: AWS Direct Connect provides a high bandwidth, low latency private connection. Site-to-site VPN acts as a failover solution if Direct Connect fails. This ensures a stable hybrid network between AWS and on-premises. Why not other options? Option B. Direct Connect Gateway is used for multi-region connections, not for failover. Option C. VPN-only solutions have high latency and lower bandwidth. Option D. Global Accelerator improves internet-based performance but does not provide private connectivity. Question 7. A healthcare application stores patient data in Amazon RDS, MySQL. Data must be highly available with automatic failover. Read-heavy workloads require read scalability. Only one database writer is needed, but multiple read replicas should be supported. Which RDS configuration is best suited? Options: A. Enable multi-AZ deployment and create Amazon RDS read replicas. B. Use Amazon Aurora with multi-AZ and cross-region replication. C. Deploy Amazon RDS with auto-scaling group for automatic failover. D. Use Amazon Elasticache to store data for faster retrieval. Correct answer: A. Enable multi-AZ deployment and create Amazon RDS read replicas. Explanation: multi-AZ ensures automatic failover to a standby instance in case of failure. Read replicas help scale read-heavy workloads by offloading traffic. Best suited for high availability with minimal downtime. Why not other options? Option B. Aurora is more expensive and suitable for high-performance needs beyond RDS. Option C. Auto-scaling groups do not apply to RDS. Option D. Elasticache is for caching, not database failover. Question 8. A financial institution needs to store regulatory compliance records for 7 years. Data is rarely accessed, but retrieval should be fast when needed. Storage should be cost-effective, considering long retention. Data retrieval time should be within minutes when required. Which AWS storage class is most cost-efficient? Options: A. Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive. B. Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering. C. Amazon S3 Standard IA. D. Amazon S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval. Correct answer: D. Amazon S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval. Explanation: S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval provides low-cost archival storage with retrieval in milliseconds. Ideal for long-term data retention with occasional access. Why not other options? Option A. Glacier Deep Archive has the lowest cost but takes hours for retrieval. Option B. Intelligent tiering is better for unpredictable access, not for long-term archiving. Option C. S3 Standard IA is more expensive for rarely accessed data. Question 9. A media company needs a serverless architecture to host a scalable web application. The application should automatically scale during traffic spikes. Requests should be handled in a highly available manner. The solution should minimize operational overhead. Which combination of AWS services meets these requirements? Options: A. Amazon EC2 auto-scaling with an application load balancer. B. Amazon Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, and S3. C. Amazon ECS with AWS Fargate and an application load balancer. D. Amazon Lightsail with a MySQL database. Correct answer: B. Amazon Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, and S3. Explanation: Lambda scales automatically without provisioning servers. API Gateway routes requests efficiently. DynamoDB is a serverless NoSQL database. S3 can store static website assets. Why not other options? Option A. EC2 requires manual scaling and maintenance. Option C. ECS with Fargate is serverless but requires container management. Option D. Lightsail is not highly scalable for production-level apps. Question 10. A gaming company is launching a public API for global users. The API must handle large amounts of traffic securely. It must be protected against DDoS attacks. Only authenticated requests should be processed. Which AWS security services should be used? Options: A. AWS WAF, AWS Shield, and API Gateway with IAM authentication. B. VPC security groups and IAM roles for API security. C. Amazon CloudTrail and AWS Config for monitoring API usage. D. Use AWS GuardDuty for real-time attack detection. Correct answer: A. AWS WAF, AWS Shield, and API Gateway with IAM authentication. Explanation: AWS WAF protects against web exploits. AWS Shield protects against DDoS attacks. API Gateway IAM authentication ensures only authorized requests are allowed. Why not other options? Option B. Security groups protect VPC-based instances, not public APIs. Option C. CloudTrail and Config provide logging but do not prevent attacks. Option D. Guard duty detects threats, but does not actively block attacks.